I'm your host, Charles. This podcast is mainly based on conversations I have with my friends, a bunch of dopes, and we're going to be smoking a little dope while we do it. But it's mainly not about the dope. It's mainly about the life experiences that my friends have had, and I feel like I know an eclectic group of people, and I can't wait to get these stories out there so you guys can hear them, so stay tuned. So we're going to start this podcast off by talking about me, the host, Charles Lewis. If you don't know who I am, you finna find out. I consider myself a martial artist, more of a grappler, but an overall martial artist. I started my martial arts journey with wrestling, a grappling art, and I started at the age of 10, and I was a Harvey Twister. From there, I went to high school, was a state qualifier, Fargo All-American, went to the Olympic Training Center in Marquette, Michigan, wrestled Greco there for a number of years. Trained martial arts since I was in high school, started with Miguel Torres, trained under Eric Paulson, Pete Degree, Josh Barnett, a lot of different people. I have a lot of different experiences within martial arts. But this podcast will be mainly based on how cannabis has influenced me and my martial arts and just in my life in general. And also my guests, the dopes, my friends. We will also talk about other things as well, not just so much cannabis, but other substances that we have experience in. Life is about experience. And if we're not able to hear other people's experiences about other things, we kind of go blindly through life. What I want to do is shine a light for either my generation or younger generation or older generation to see that everyday life is consistent of these substances, good and bad, and the experiences that these people have hopefully can guide you or someone you know in that journey. Alright guys, I'm going to introduce you to my first guest, somebody I'm excited for you guys to hear from. Somebody I've been knowing since high school, man. Freshman year, we played football together, and I've seen this transformation, man. I can't tell you how inspirational and how proud I am of this man. But no further ado, the gangster formerly known as Colin Faulkner, now the religious man known as Colin Faulkner L. Here you go. Talk to the people.
Thank you, man. That's a grand introduction. I respect that, man, because it's definitely been a long journey. And you want to know something that's true? You have been with me since you seen me throughout the years for sure, and we was shoulder to shoulder a lot of times too. Sometimes, so it was a lot of the time, especially when we was playing ball and everything, even from training. Yeah. So you seen me on my good days and you seen me on my worst days, and it's just a blessing to be able to be here and just talk. So thank you for having me on the podcast.
And I'm glad to have you here, man, for real.
All praises due to Allah.
So what I really want to get into with you is just a little bit about your journey, your religious journey, because it is definitely it's hard to tell somebody how you were to how you are now. So I just want you to give a little bit of intro about just how you grew up and where religion kind of played its part, and also cannabis. I know you have your experiences with cannabis, yeah. So you can go ahead and throw that in there. The first time you smoked, or the first time you regularly started smoking.
Oh man, I want to tell you both of those situations. But a background about myself. I was formerly known as Colin Faulkner Ill. I proclaim my nationality as a Moorish American. I was formerly known as Colin Faulkner. Now I'm known as Colin Faulkner Ill. Once I proclaimed my nationality, but I grew up south suburbs of Chicago, so Harvey, Dalton, Calumet City. I'm pretty much born and raised on Sibley. That's all I pretty much know. Some people used to pride themselves on being from the city and all that. I mean, like I've been there, and I know people there, or family there. But I'm born and raised on Sibley, and I'm proud of that because Sibley made me who I am. Especially growing up in like Harvey, if people who is not familiar with Harvey has always been Harvey, at least from what I know. Harvey World, yeah. So shout out to everybody who, is coming from out of Harvey and raised up in Harvey, because you strong if you come from out of there. And just traversing down Sibley, like I said, to Dalton, and then moving to Calumet City in '99. That's really where the story began, because at that age I was like 9. Then 10 years old, it's like where the story really gets to going. When you come of age, you start
becoming aware of the world around you.
Yeah, real. But early on, I feel like us growing up in our conditions, we had to grow up fast anyway. And so we had to just think on our feet all the time. Like, our parents was always teaching us to think for ourselves. At least in my household. Like, we read a lot. Like, I could say I had a nice family, but circumstances put you in, it's different conditions that put you in different situations, like not really knowing my dad and my mom leaving and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And in our households, mostly like your grandmother is mostly that's your matriarch and patriarch at the same time. And
that's
so
what they call it, the OG.
The OG,
Don't even call it the grandma, it's the OG.
And my aunt was there. I had family that was there, though. I had a good center family. We was always hard working, so it wasn't like I was raised up in a bad family. But through the conditions around me and my environment, and just growing up, you kind of venture out into your own realm of things, into what you think life is. So I got into a lot of different things early on. I could say, like, I remember my first form of rebellion, if you want to talk like religious growth or beginnings, really became just growing up in a Christian household. I ain't gonna say I don't know if I ever really got into the Bible to where I was like, oh, this is cool. It's kind of just like you kind of ushered in to just believe something, and I didn't really understand it. It wasn't like no self-interpretation of it, like, what do you think about this, or how do you think about that? It was more so like, this is what it is. And see that and I don't think it was nothing wrong with that, but I just know a lot of that stuff just came from just came from growing up in the South, you know what I'm saying? It came from slavery. A lot of that type of teaching and things like that was instilled through people that way, really forced upon people. So I don't know, I just felt like that's how it was put upon me in a degree, and so I just really never got with it. And I always used to wonder why they needed money. And so it was a lot of different things, and I never knew where it was coming from or going, and I didn't understand the concept of Jesus and God, and so, or if they were the same person or separate at the time. Like, I didn't know if that stuff was real or fictional. I didn't know if
it was just tradition.
I didn't know anything until I started reading and studying theosophy and, other religious texts and things like that.
Yeah, I feel like tradition gets lost through time. The interpretation of the tradition changes throughout time. So, like, the generation before us, their interpretation of religion was just don't ask questions. It is what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
It just is what it is. And now I feel like the age of people now, their interpretation of religion is a little different. It's more of we're asking ourselves why more than anything. It's not so much we're accepting whatever was told us. We're asking why now. And that, I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, to be honest with you.
I don't know. I see a lot of different stuff going on. I don't know if people even believe in God no more from the way I be looking at things. Or people just believe other different types of spiritual systems, or they're trying to create different forms of spiritual systems that relate to their ideals. But people had that idea, like we was talking about it earlier, just the idea about how people view religious. Like, even when you look up the definition of religious or doing something that's in the form of a religion, that could be an act of something you do. You could drink religiously, you could fornicate religiously, you can run religiously. That's a form of, in a sense, it's a form of worship to what you believe in and what you got faith in, And, go ahead.
I was going to say, with that, a lot of people don't understand that they're like, whatever it is they do in life, they're going to worship something. Mm-hmm. There's no avoiding it. A lot of people, especially the non-religious people, they look at people who worship religion as like almost they look down on them. They're less than or like stupid. They look at their intelligence level as like lesser than theirs. But they don't understand that there's something in their life they believe religiously in. A lot of people believe religiously in the dollar. Like a lot of people believe that is their Messiah. That I worship this, I work for this. I mean, honestly, we all do, to a certain extent, worship the dollar because that's what makes this world go around. That's what gives us comfortability in life. So like, that is almost a form of religion, but people don't want to look at it that way because it's something you can touch. It's a game you can play. Religion is kind of you get the results at the end.
In some instances, people see it like that, but you know, and the way that I've embraced more science through the Prophet Noble Ali is more in the way of like experiencing heaven on earth while you living. You know, it's all a mind state. You know, so I feel like it's just depending on how you how you view a situation once something has happened or in the course of something happening. You know, but we all, you know, reach points where we might be too stressed out. You know what I'm saying? You just fold under pressure. That happens sometimes. You know, sometimes we just don't know how to respond to a certain situation, but some people do. Some people know how to relax under pressure and kind of just intake everything that's going on and be able to internalize it in a certain way and then go act on it once something is planned out. It's nothing's rush, you know. It's the rationality that you got to have when you're making a decision and information. True. You know, so like for some people, if you don't know how to calm and still your mind on something, how you gonna be able to function, you know, properly? You know, you're gonna just be scattered everywhere. Or you know, if you don't know how to think for yourself, you know, how are you gonna be able to do the right thing at that time? You know what I'm saying? Or be able to help yourself in any situation, because it is about helping yourself, but also about helping others. You know, that you got to serve yourself, then serve others. You know what I mean? So I just think it's all about how you look at, you know, the teachings of things too. You know, certain circles teach certain things. That don't mean that you being taught the right thing. Yeah. Like people have to really go in depth into what it is that they're studying in order to really understand it. You know, say for example, I remember one day I was reading the Satanic Handbook because I just wanted to know what they was talking about, and I read, you know, I picked it up. I ain't like finish it, but I picked it up to explore the contents of it, just to get a further understanding without having to like do any ritual or anything like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
you gotta have those. You gotta that's what I'm looking. You gotta explore the contracting ideas to what you believe in. Like you gotta look into the opposite. You can't just always look into what my side is. You gotta peek over to the other side and see what they're talking about, because something might appeal to you, something might relate to you, or you might find similarities between that side and your side, and it almost makes it a little bit more human, because a lot of people look at something that's different than theirs as almost non-human. It's not human. You're not on my side. You can't be like, you're not holy. You're not good. So it's like, it's good to almost check yourself and explore the other side to see like, oh well, shit, I thought this and this isn't true because this is what they say, but this is what they're like. It's just good to explore different ideas.
No, that's absolutely true. How else would you know?
True.
You know what I'm saying? Like if you never even went to go even researching something, like people say, oh, you know, they just go whatever they hear. And then you never research it. Then they say something in front of somebody who a little bit more educated on the subject, and now you embarrassed now because you're somebody there who's more studious. You know.
Yeah, that's one thing over my years I learned to do is not speak on something I really don't know.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna speak on something I got like some type of research and knowledge in. So definitely, like I definitely been to that point where I've spoke out of ignorance and been checked out in my ignorance.
Yeah, we all have to, like you say, you got to check yourself. You have to check yourself. I also been there plenty of times. I don't know it all now. I think that's why I'm where I'm at now, like where you see me now, because I had to, you have to humble yourself. You know, like I'm still being humble now. Like I'm not perfect. You know, it's a lot of things I can still have worked on, but I'm definitely not the person who I was. You know, all those years ago. You know, over a decade ago. So I think that's the testimony everybody has. You know, is like I say, I just go back to having a mentality of being able to overcome any type of situation that you're in. You know, because life will not stop.
It won't.
It will not stop, and you're gonna face problems. Yeah. And so it's an ongoing thing. You're gonna have to keep going. I think that's why like how you were saying earlier, you gotta have what you were saying about having the discipline of a course of your action throughout the day. What you were saying?
You gotta force yourself to do things.
Yeah.
It's the discipline to do the things that you don't want to do. No one really wants to work hard. So you gotta discipline yourself in the aspects of getting up and doing the things you don't want to do. Like I was talking about like motivation, or I think that's what it was. It was more of a, you won't always be motivated, but discipline oversees motivation all day. So once you become disciplined in certain things, you realize that, okay, I'm working hard at this. I'm disciplined. Even though I don't want to do it, there's a result to my actions that I want. So it just kind of works out that way.
Yeah, that's how manifestation works, though. You know, you think about something, you figure out the goal, how to achieve it, and then you start working towards that action. Then, you know, you cultivate. It's a thought at first, but then all of a sudden it starts to manifest itself through every step you take. Sometimes you're going to have a step where you're going to get the answer you want. Sometimes you're not. But it's just part of the process. That don't mean that it's over with. It's just part of what's going on. And if you don't see life in that way, like, oh, if you trip, yeah, you're going to fall. You're going to, you know, sometimes you scrape your knee. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you just get up, you dust it off. Sometimes you trip, you trip up, you laugh at yourself.
Yeah.
You know, just get up, accept the humility, and just, be more humble and really appreciate what's like the things that we do have. And I think that's also why, that's something my mother instilled in me, though. Just as a part of being like a good character.
Shout out to the OG.
Shout out to the OG, and just teaching me how to be humble in that way, like do for others, don't judge people and all these different type of things. That stuff carried me a long way. That's why I know a lot of different people in a lot of different circles too, like yourself, because I just don't put myself in one box, and I also don't out nobody else. You know what I mean? You gotta give people
at least a chance.
At least a chance, you know what I mean? Like, see who they are. Give them a chance to see who they are. Let their character show for themselves. Sometimes people just need a little refining. You know what I mean? I always say, like, through my own development, it's better. I learned to just be accountable, because I was a person who wasn't even accountable at one point. You know what I mean? So it's a lot of things. And it's just a lot of stuff like who I am now, I just learned through religion. So if you want to, like, just to piggyback on religion and doing these type of things, but that's just what Islamism brought to me, because I don't know where I would be right now, honestly, because I don't think people with the Prophet Noble Ali, it's like, I don't think for myself, you know what I'm saying? Like, he just taught me how to think, but, everything I'm saying to you is really coming from me just understanding that teaching and applying it, and that's what I think is good about having these holy texts. Like, you got texts in India like the Upanishads and the Rig Vedas and the Bhagavad Gita, the Avestas, and all of these different type of things. And then you got other ancient texts out here. Whenever you reading these different type of things, they try to associate it as like it's fictional. You know what I mean? And it's that weird type of psychology that's placed on our people to think this stuff don't exist. And then that also does your concept of the possibilities of you. If they say Jesus was born here, then he was born here, and he came through a man and a woman, and then he was able to achieve things for man because that was his duty. He was divinely prepared for that. So if you got somebody that came and did that, and that person looked like us, and they say he don't look like us, but the person looks just like us, and he was able to do all these great things, what you think you could do? And he said, everything I could do, you can do too. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's not, your divinity is your own right too. You know, and people always think like, I see that people act like that's like when you go back to like everybody want to be special. We all special, you know, because really in the light of Allah, you know, we all are the same thing. You know what I mean? So it's like nobody is no different. You know, no matter what your creed or religion is or what you choose to do, you know, that's your freedom. You know, that's why the principles love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice are the highest known principles known to man, because that's like, it don't get no better than that. You know what I mean? If you just demonstrating that, you able to accept people for who they are. You at peace with that. Like, why do I have to hate on another person because they thinking different than me? Like, why would I strike another person down just because they want to dress different from me? You know what I mean? Or tear a person's character apart because I don't agree with something that their philosophy, or I think I'm the all-knowing and all-powerful. You know, it teaches you, I say humble. It's like, the religion humbled me, bro. It was through my experiences too that really, it was through the experience humbled me, but the religious side of it
brought context to your experience.
Yeah, exactly. And so with the context, I was able to understand exactly what I was going through, even on a psychological level. Because like I say, through all of this, I was always reading all different type of stuff. I was reading esoteric literature. I was reading psychology books. You know, all the Robert Greene books and all, you know, think of the Art of War, you know, these different type of books. So we was reading this stuff. Like I read The Prince by Niccolo Machiavelli when I was probably like 12 or 13. You know what I mean? That's not even a book somebody at my age was supposed to be reading.
Nah, not at all.
You know, so you think about if you reading that at that age, what you gonna be into? I was a lot of stuff like, and then just starting to understand what life was really like. Because from going outside so early, you just start experiencing stuff. And like I say, we just experienced stuff growing up so fast without understanding it. And it wasn't until we got older. That's why older people always say like, y'all just need to slow down, you know, and you know, just chill out a little bit and do this and do that, because they understand, like, if you move too fast, you know, you're gonna end up crashing yourself so quickly. You know what I'm saying? Because think about how many times I always think about what my parents always said, you know, just enjoy your childhood, because we used to be like, can't wait till I'm grown, can't wait till I'm grown. You know, that was the claim to fame. And then you get grown, and now you just like, man, I want to sit back and eat, you know what I'm saying, Fruit Loops and Captain Crunch, and like don't have to worry about nothing. I gotta go pay bills today and go work and deal with some people in the real world. You know what I mean? So, but everybody got a problem they facing, because, you know, this is another measure too, you know, in the context of understanding religion through, at least what I learned through the Prophet Noble Jew Ali and Islamism, is that, you know, people are facing issues that we don't even face, you know what I mean? And so, like, even Jesus had to correct people on a lot of occasions where he had to go to the people and say, you know, how many of y'all, like, why are y'all judging somebody else? Like, how many of y'all are, you know, more holier than them? You know what I mean? Like, who hasn't sinned here? Everybody sins, you know what I'm saying? It's not going to be one person that's not going to say, like, I haven't had this thought. You can sin in your thought. What make you think you getting away from that? God see everything. You know what I'm saying? That's why, you know, it's in some texts and literatures, it's the all-seeing eye. It's the all-seeing eye of Allah. Like, you see, you know, Allah sees our hearts clearly. And so if someone can see your heart, like, what you think you had them from? And so then that's another way for you to also act in accordance with everything. You get what I'm saying? It's like a lot of different measures in all of this. You know, that's why I say I like studying religion and different things like that, because it's a difference when you got a person who is just what they say is just a lip professor.
Yeah.
But then you got like I always say, it's a difference between the devoted and the devotee. You know what I'm saying? Because a person who's like truly devoted to something, they are going to go all the way through. You know what I'm saying? The devotee just do whatever they got to do to get through. And there ain't nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? You just do your everyday. But it's people that really is into this stuff, like, and I mean, like, and when I say that, I compare that to like people who are like sages and stuff like that, like holy people. Like it's sages in many ancient texts, and people who lived on Earth. When you go look geographically where these people come from, they come from out of, like, they was born somewhere geographically on this earth, on this rock. Like, and that's why I say, but a lot of those people too study religion. You know what I'm saying? They practice religion and ancient forms of it, because people think like they see the things that's modern today, and it's religions that's been around since the beginning of the time. Don't nobody know how long this rock been here and how long people been here. They say, oh, it's been around. How we only been here around this time? And then when they go excavate something, they say, now, oh, we don't know how long this has been around. So,
yeah. No, people really don't know. Like, I'm definitely a believer of the philosophy of religion. Not so much the caricatures of religion, but definitely the philosophy of religion I'm a big believer in, because it definitely gives you a understanding of how to navigate this world. Definitely gives you, especially if you don't have that type of understanding growing up, it gives it to you. It tells you, like, this is the reason for the good and the bad, because it's supposed to be there. And, like, you get comfortable with the devil.
Yeah. It's a divinely and earthly salvation. Because think about this. Religion is teaching you how to live on earth, but it's also preparing you for the afterlife. Because it's spirit. Think about this physically, like in physics. It's energy. Energy doesn't dissipate. It doesn't die. It just transfers. That's what a spirit is. It's just straight, pure energy. You know what I mean? So imagine something being encapsulated into something in order to function. That's all we are. You got a soul, then you have a body, according to the prophet Nobuju Ali. And you function on these different type of things. Think about if you sleeping or if you daydreaming, where you think you going? Your flesh not there, so where are you traveling to? You seeing where you going. People travel all the time. It's like all these different things you learn in these spiritual books, and you just don't understand it. Nobody's teaching it how it's supposed to be taught for you to think on a higher level. Think about, like, they still don't know how to. I was watching some with my cousin the other day about the pyramids. They still don't know how they build pyramids. Such a high vibrational way of thinking that modern humans can't even conceptualize it.
Yeah.
To repeat it. Some of this stuff can't even be repeated. The Sphinx has never been repeated. Where all the pyramids that's been found all over the world, in America and over in the Far East, where they at? Like, how are you not able to repeat that today? Where's the text from it? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Think about all the stuff that happened through history and different things. It's just a lot of things. Like, the history of the world is very deep, and you have to go back, and they have records on this stuff. You have to go deep.
But that takes effort, that takes time, that takes energy that a lot of people aren't going to put forth. But, to switch subjects real quick, let's get into the first time you tried weed. The first time you started smoking heavily. Let's get into that.
First time I smoked, man, I was probably 12 years old.
Let's go.
12 years old, and one of my guys, actually, he was a heavy smoker. We was in about, 6th, 7th grade or something like that. And so
he was a heavy smoker.
I mean, he was smoking Phillies, the big Phillies.
Oh my God.
And so he would be like, man, yeah, we gonna, like, I didn't know nothing about nickel bags, because the only thing he would buy was like big bags of weeds. I believe they were 7s. You know what I'm saying? He'd just be buying 7s all the time. And so
he was 12 years old buying 7s when he talked.
Like, bro, and he was smoking, and then one day he was like, man, y'all want to smoke with me? And I was like, yeah, let's try it out. And it was during the summer in Dalton Park. In the summer, used to have them events and stuff. And so they had the carnivals and stuff set up. And so we go to Dalton Park, and we smoke some weed before we get there. And I just remember it was really hot. And I just kept telling them, I say, man, I'm really hot. I'm sweating. They say, bro, you're not sweating. I was like, it's no way I'm not sweating. I was like, I feel my face. I'm like drenched. They're like, nah, bro, you just really high. You cool. You just chill out. And I just remember that whole day was just one big adventure. And it felt really good. Like, I was paranoid, too, because the police was there. And so I'm thinking, like, and we was sitting there smoking weed. And then it was like the police come by. And we just stupid stuff. But, yeah, my whole first time experiencing smoking weed was that day at Dalton Park with my buddy. And he rolled up some Phillies. And I smoked some Philly blunts. for my first time.
Philly's fat as hell. What do you mean?
Exactly, bro. And he showed me how to smoke, and I told. And at that time, I wasn't even smoking all the time. I was just smoking every now and again. Like, sometimes we would smoke with him, but at that time, I had a beard and stuff at like 12 and 13, 14, so I was buying alcohol
Bro,
for the homies.
Bro, this nigga looked 40 at freshman year. He was like full beard, full thick ass beard. Grown as hell looking, G.
Yeah, definitely had that type of feel. And it's true. Yeah, you was able to get away with certain things, and that propelled my my habits. And so it was the senior years when I really started smoking though. It's because I was buying a lot of weed and stuff too, and so then I was smoking with my guys, and he was like, "Look, man," one of my guys, he said, "Look, you ain't got to smoke us all out no more. You got to stop doing that. Like, you save your weed. Let me teach you how to roll up." And one day he just taught me how to roll up, and it was history from there. You know what I'm saying? I started off as a sloppy roller, and people have said now that they are pretty impressed with my style of rolling. But yeah, you just blast off, bro. Like, I didn't.
Hey, you remember senior year when we was in that parking lot at Walmart, and I ain't gonna say nobody's name.
What happened?
We had skipped school. It was me, you, somebody in the driver's side, and free my nigga Keith. I think Keith was with us.
What? Keith locked up?
Oh yeah. Oh,
I know.
Let me finish this story. We gonna tell you about Keith. But the driver had sniffed at the air duster shit.
Oh, yeah, I do remember that day. Yeah, no, that was wild.
And he drove off like...
Hey, no, that day was wild. Yeah, we definitely done had some experiences.
We was in the parking lot at Walmart. And this man had grabbed the air duster shit that
we went in the store. We went in the store with him to get it. We was all acting like we was going, yeah.
Let's start that shit.
I instantly passed though, cause I wasn't about none of that life. And I remember you act like you had it, and you turned to look. You act like you had hit it and turned to look at me. He was like, "Yeah," I was like, "Good, bro." Good,
it's like the keyboard cleaner, so you get like a towel or something, and you inhale it.
And people was doing it.
And it's like a whippet, so it's like that motherfucker. He hit that shit and was just like,
yeah, he hit the Steve-O real hard.
Then like,
yep, this right here. Yep, this right here.
So he was like, inhale that shit.
Steve-O hard, bro. We was all looking
all
like
type of brain cells.
Actually, you fake like you did this.
I fake like I did it. And like look back at the camera.
I was like, yes, bro.
And that nigga pulled off so crazy out that parking lot. We all look like
we went back to school too. We went back in because we had lean. We went back with lean and pills.
Bro, we went back to school with lean.
We went back loaded and probably weed too.
Bro, we was
high. We was messed up though because we had took shots.
Bro, we was fucked up.
We was taking shots and everything. We had left. This was like supposed to be senior picture day or something. Somebody messed it up or something. I don't even remember if we went in there, but we came back
fucked up.
And we was passing out stuff coming through the door. I remember passing stuff out. I had a can or something, and we just passing the can around, and everybody like, "Dang, let me get some." And you just go to class and you act like nothing ever happened,
bro,
and
we used to get
you finish your day. High school at the Wood. I ain't afraid to say it.
Fuck you talking about?
At
the Wood.
I definitely.
I ain't gonna say the full name. I was just.
I ain't gonna say the full name, but I ain't bragging on this or nothing like that. But that was just life.
Yeah, man.
That was life at the time, and that's very interesting too, because we was. I was doing that stuff from 12 all the way up. You know what I'm saying? So that's like the whole that's before high school, and after graduation, you know what I'm saying? I ain't even graduate. I went and got my GED. So, but senior year was where I think everybody elevated to a next level, and then people went to college, and then all of a sudden everybody was smoking weed.
Yeah, I was like,
and weed was cool. When we were sitting in the hallway,
fucked up niggas like, what's
wrong with y'all? What's wrong with you?
Yeah, that is got lean and Gatorade bottles and that bitches.
yeah, life was definitely different. Yeah, so, but I don't know. Like, I look at cannabis differently now. You know, I feel like, man, just abusing any type of substance that way was just completely just the wrong way to do anything.
It was no information about it. We didn't know.
Yeah, we didn't know. We took Dare, didn't we?
No, but there was say no. There wasn't like, well, this is what this is, and if you smoke this much, you might feel it. It was never informational. It was always, don't do it. Stay away from it. If anybody brings it to you, you go and you say, no, I don't smoke that, and you go tell an adult. Like, what? The adult would have been like, how much you say it was for? You go tell an adult, hey, this guy tried to offer me weed.
Right.
How much?
Right.
How much was he selling?
How much was it for? And then back then, it was cheap, man. You get you a 7 for $25.
Yeah, but it was dirt.
Yeah. Then Dro came out.
Baby Dro.
When Loud came out, I wanted to smoke Loud. My mans was trying to hook me up. The whole time. He's like, bro, you need to come on and switch over to this. I'm like, bro, I'm not smoking that. I was like, I see how they acting off of this stuff, man. I said, they out here tweaking. I was like, I'm going to stick to the Reggie. I was like, you got some of that Dro, that stuff that I like. You got that? Yeah. Remember, we used to smoke that too? Remember when we was downtown hanging out? We went to get that orange kush or something?
Oh, yeah, with Keith.
Yeah.
Also, let me tell you about, man, free my nigga Keith. So, I guess a few years ago, man, I ain't talked to him since, but I guess what had happened was he was working at like an AutoZone or some shit, and him and one of the dudes he worked with had got into some shit or whatever over some money. I don't know how much, but apparently my man was working underneath the car, and Keith was in his pickup truck, and while my man was underneath the car, Keith fucking hit the car, ran him over, and the car fell down and crushed my man's skull, all that shit, killed my man. But free my nigga Keith.
Wow.
Yeah, that shit.
Man,
that shit.
Yeah, Allah have mercy on us, man. That's deep.
Yeah, that's some deep shit.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Dang, Keith.
Hey, if you hit us in prison, you still my nigga though. I ain't gonna stunt you. I don't know the full story. I don't know what happened.
Dang.
I know his character, so it had to be some extra shit going on.
Damn, that's what I'm saying. That don't even sound like him. I'm like, what happened?
Yeah.
That's true, man. Just spent many days with him too.
Yeah, man. Like,
dang, that's deep, man.
Yeah.
I ain't know that, man.
Yeah, that shit was a couple years ago, probably like 3-4 years ago, some shit.
Man.
Nah, probably like 2-3 years, something like that. Remember that happened when I first moved back out here, so like 2 years ago, yep. But we can go ahead and wrap this first episode up, man.
We all sad.
I know, right?
Everybody's just looking crazy like, hey, bro. Why you should have told us this 5, 10, 20 minutes ago, man.
Like, no, I'll tell y'all at the end of the podcast. We just end the somber. But hey, man, this is the first episode of Dopes and Dope. Thanks for listening. If you don't get through it, please, get through it at one point. I know it's a lot to get through, but I appreciate you for listening. Thank you again for my first guest, Colin Faulkner L. I really appreciate it. And I gotta give a special shout out to my producer, Ben. We gonna post all his social medias.
Shout out.
The link. Shout out to my boy. And I'm gonna give a quick shout out to some of my sponsors. I wanna shout out Propane and Propane Accessories. That's my boy, that's the plug. Shout out to the boy. I wanna shout out Epic Clothing. Look at them on Instagram, e.p.ic. Whatever, put the dots in between. Epic Collection. Shout out Aisha. I wanna give a shout out to GoAlert.com. Look at GoAlert.com. Shout out Kush. And, thanks for listening. Until next time, guys.
Peace and love, yeah.